Hi everybody, welcome to Preston's 8 Legs. I'm Preston, and today we're going to be going over the different parts of a tarantula. But first, I'd like to introduce you guys to my partner today. He is Julio, my Brachypelma homoi. He is my first tarantula I ever got, and today he's one of the most active ones I have out. And so I decided, hey, you know what? I need a buddy to do this demonstration today and show you guys the different parts of a tarantula. And figured, hey, he could come out and hang out with us and sit over here and just keep us company and do whatever he's going to do for the rest of the time. So I have some molts today that we're going to go over. I also have some parts of a book that we're going to be learning from, and hopefully you guys enjoy the video. If you do, please do like and subscribe and comment too in case you guys have any questions, and I can answer them in a future video about any parts of a tarantula or care of a tarantula, anything that you guys need or want. And like I said, today we're going to be using some molts. I have some right here. There we go. So I have a little cup here full of some molts. One of them in here is Julio's, but I don't think we're going to use this because he likes to tear up his molts quite a bit when he molts. Now, I keep saying molt, 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 but what I'd like to do is explain what a molt is. So let me grab one here. I won't use Julio's here because, like I said, he is pretty small still and he's not really visually good. But this is a molt right here. And what a molt is that when a tarantula grows, they will shed this, and this is their exoskeleton. And as you know, insects, arachnids, they have exoskeletons. They're not like us where they have an inner skeleton, they have an exoskeleton. That's a solid part of their body. So when they grow, what they will do is the inside of them will grow a new exoskeleton underneath the old exoskeleton. And once they get big enough and strong enough, they will lay on their back, and then they will vibrate and shake their legs until eventually they vibrate off their old exoskeleton. And then once that happens, they will be very vulnerable, they'll be very soft, and they'll be very weak because it's a long process to get that molt off. So what the best thing to do is just leave your tarantula alone. Don't touch them, don't feed them, because their fangs, what they need to feed with, will also be very soft and delicate. So you don't want to have them munch on anything hard like most of the feeders are. So just leave them alone. Wait about a week or so until you can see that their fangs are black again, and that you can see that their body is hard enough. Then you can feed them again, and then you can rehouse them if you need to, or do whatever you need to with them. But like I said, today's main topic is going to be the different parts and sections of a tarantula and what they're used for and what the tarantula uses them for. So I'm going to get started here. Pick up a molt, and we're probably going to use tie-dye, my Chromatopelma cyanopubescent, his molt, and because he's the biggest one I have. Plus, he's the most colorful, so it's easier to see the different parts, and his is the most intact, so it's really good to see them. I will use some other molts in case there's some parts of tie-dyes that aren't that great, but we'll use his mainly. Now, there will be some parts of the molt that will break off because they are dry and crunchy because they have no moisture in them anymore. But don't be alarmed, these are not live tarantulas anymore. These are just a molt. So the tarantula's already out of it and in his new exoskeleton. So let's get started here. So we're back, and here is tie-dye's molt. Now, what I have in the tongs here, if I can get to focus, like I said, I will try and make sure everything's in focus here, but the tarantulas are still pretty small. But I do want to be able to show you guys the different parts of the tarantulas here. So what I have here is called the carapace. This is the top portion of the head, you can call it. And it comes off like a little helmet here, you see. But tie-dyes is really cool because tie-dye actually kept his entire molt intact. So if you can imagine it, imagine that tie-dye is, let me see here, I can flip him over. Okay, so he would normally be like this. Just imagine his legs sprawled out. And then his little cap right here would be it would be right about here sitting on top. So this stuff that's right here that you see That is his abdomen, the exoskeleton of his abdomen. You can see it's orange because his butt is very orange. But back to his carapace here. The carapace is the top of the head, almost like a helmet. Basically, you can see because it's hard and it comes off like a little helmet. And you see these little dots right there. Those are the tarantula's eyes. Now, some tarantulas may have a different location for the eyes, but they'll be generally in the same area and they'll have the same type of grouping. Because tarantulas have many eyes, but they are very small, as you can see, and they're grouped together. They're not like normally a regular spiders, where you see if they had their carapace here, they would have on maybe one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, so on along their head, because a lot of spiders do use their eyesight for hunting and for movement, especially jumping spiders. Jumping spiders have some of the best eyesight in the whole animal world. And because they have such big eyes and they use telescopic eyes almost. But tarantulas don't. Tarantulas rely on the size of their body more than they do on the eyesight. And I'll get into that here and how they actually can sense prey and movement and danger with their body instead of the eyesight here. So again, this is the carapace, and these right here are his eyes. Now, we'll move on here to the section that's connected to him. And right here, I'm going to just crunch it down a little bit. This part right here, this orange part, is his abdomen. Now, of course, the abdomen is where they store the lungs, the food, the webbing, and basically it's the body of the tarantula. It's where the heart is. It's where all the vital organs are, the tarantula. The abdomen is the most important part of the tarantula. Basically, except for the legs, of course. But that is the abdomen right there. So it's all connected. Then, what I'm going to do here now, please don't be squeamish, because I'm going to just break off some legs here so we can see better. And also that way we can see the legs in a better light here in just a little bit. Come on, there we go. Like I said, this is very dry. I've had this for a long time. And because I just like to keep them, that way you can look at them. And also the molts are a good way to tell the health of the tarantula. Okay, so here is what we can see is the inside of the tarantula. Oh, let me grab it. Okay, so we can see that is the inside of the tarantula. It is so hard to grab this thing. I don't want to break off too much of him, but there we go. Okay, so as you can see, there's holes in the body there that go to the legs, and basically it's like they slip the legs into those holes into the exoskeleton. The innards go into the exoskeleton, so they basically wear this like a suit of armor almost. Oh, there goes the leg. But that's fine. We don't really need to take a look at the legs right now, and I can have a couple of legs here that we can take a better look at. So actually, you know what, let me get the rest of the legs off here, and let me just keep this here. Okay, so the underside here that you can see where the holes are of the tarantula, we'll flip them over here. This section right here is called the sternum. Now the sternum is basically the underside of the carapace, and the carapace is just basically the head. So the sternum is the underside of the head. And if you can see there, let me see if I can get it to focus. These are very tiny. But you can see that little glistening black right there. That is his fangs. Now, his fangs are not this entire part right here. His fangs are connected to these parts, and this part is called the chelicerae. Now, the chelicerae are basically like if the fangs are your teeth, the chelicerae are your gums and your jaw, almost. Okay, so if we're going to equivalent it to human anatomy, The fangs are the teeth, and the chelicerae are the lips. Well, not the lips, the gums and the jaw of the tarantula. And then what we have here, this leg right here, is called a pedipalp. Now, the pedipalp is what they use for their arms. So, if they need to grab something, they will use their pedipalp here to grab it and take a hold of it and keep it in their fangs and mouth. They don't really use the legs because they're using the legs to walk and move and keep themselves upright. They use a pedipalp here as an arm. One, because it's shorter, so it's a little bit stronger. They can really keep things tight. And two, it's right by their mouth, which they're able to keep things close to as well, especially when they're trying to eat. So, let me see if I can get this focused here, because this is going to be definitely difficult for you guys to see. Okay, that's about as good as I can get it. So, if you see here these orangish parts, lightish white parts, that's underneath the tarantula, and that would be almost where the opening of the mouth would be. So, when tarantulas eat, they take their venom and they paralyze the prey that they're eating. And then what they'll do is they will almost suck out the innards. I know that's gross to think, but they will suck out the innards and liquefy their prey. And they will slurp it, because tarantulas don't necessarily have a mouth where they're chomping down and chewing on something like humans or like a mammal does. They will suck it out and like a straw and suck it and suck through the sternum here, and it goes into the abdomen and where the stomach is. So that's how a tarantula eats, and that's how they hold their prey, is with these little pedipalps here. Now, the other benefit of the pedipalp is when they mate, they use these pedipalps to support each other while they mate. And what the male does is the male will have a special little bulb on the end of his pedipalp once he matures. And when he is ready to mate, he will make a sperm web. And then, let me see his other pedipalp here. He'll make a sperm web, which is a little web, and then he will put his sperm in it. And then he will use these little bulbs at the end of his pedipalp to suck it up. And then when he's ready to mate, that is how he disperses the sperm into the female so that he can mate. Now, the fact that not a lot of people may know is that after that, his life is about to end, most likely, because when tarantulas mate, the female will eat the male. Most of the time, if the male's not fast enough to get away, they will eat them, because not a lot of people are entirely sure why, but the main theory is that because the female wants to have the nutrition to keep on going so that the babies can be born and continue to go on. Other theory is that the female just may be hungry and he's the closest thing by that she can eat. So it's a little sad, but that's basically what the male tarantula's whole life is, expected to be. Is he's just expected to carry on his bloodline. So next here we have the leg. Now the leg is made up of a couple different parts. The front part is called the tarsus, and that would be this section right here, about as wide as the tip of this tongue right here. And then this section right here would be called the metatarsus. So tarsus, metatarsus. And then the third section here is going to be called the tibia. And then the fourth section here is called the patella. And then the section all the way right here, let me get another one right here. The section right here, let me get focused. The section right here is called the femur. So just like us, the part of our leg that connects the closest to our body is called the femur. So they have very similar names for the leg parts. So right here we have the femur, the patella, the tibia, the metatarsus, and then the tarsus, which is the hand or finger, whatever you want to call it for that leg. So, this is all the different parts of the tarantula. Now, there's some more very specific and in detailed depth parts of the tarantula, but nothing that we really need to go into, especially with tarantulas, because they're very different from spiders. But those are the main parts that will be on a spider and a tarantula. Now, I'm going to move these out of the way. I'm going to bring another molt in here, and we're going to be able to look at the hairs on a tarantula and what they're used for and what they're called. Okay, everybody, so what we have here is the molt of cinnamon, my Brachypelma amelia, my most biggest tarantula in body mass, I would say. Tie-dye is my biggest tarantula in size, but cinnamon is my biggest tarantula in mass. She's the thickest and most dense one I have right now. But another good thing about her is she's the hairiest. So, what the hair on a tarantula is called the setae. And the setae is how, like I said earlier, how tarantulas will have, let me pull it up here real quick. Remember how I said that the tarantula carapace here has their eyes very close together and they can't really see that well? Well, this is what they use. They use the setae, which is the hairs all along their body. You can see here, it's going to be very hard for you to see the individual hairs up close, but you can see all the little hairs here. Those are called setae. And what the setae do is they're super sensitive hairs that will feel movement on the ground. They'll feel any air or resistance or breathing or temperature that you can these hairs can even tell the temperature for the tarantula as well. So what they do is they use these hairs in their body to sense where movement is, prey is, danger is, the temperature, whether it's wet, whether it's dry, whether it's daylight, night, based on the temperature, of course, and whether or not they can dig or not. So these hairs are the most important part of the tarantula because without these hairs, oh, there we go. Without these hairs, the tarantula would not really know where it's at. They can still see, they're not blind, but they definitely can't see enough to where they can know where the prey is at and where they can know what necessarily where they're walking at. So, right here is actually a good way to show you again. This part is called the tarsus, and then you have the metatarsus right here. And then the tibia, patella, which is really small on cinnamon here, and then the femur. These are a little bit easier because they're different colors. You can see. So, tarsus, oh, there we go. Tarsus, metatarsus, tibia, patella, femur. All right there. And you can see femur connects right to the body. And that's how you can tell it's the femur because it's just like us. Our femur bone, one of the biggest ones. And also you see this is one of the most thickest and biggest parts of the tarantula's legs, just like us. Our biggest bone and our hardest bone, I believe. So, back to the hairs. The setae, like I said, are the most important part because this is how they feel, sense, basically see almost. And what's really nice is if you have a tarantula like cinnamon here that has a lot of hairs, if you ever get to handle your tarantula, which I have a video on how you can handle it and how you can do it safely and without causing too much stress to your tarantula, if you ever get to feel them, tarantula hair is extremely soft. It's extremely soft. It's almost like teddy bear hair. Okay? Now, if you don't ever get to have a chance to touch a tarantula or hold them, this is a perfect way to actually get to feel what a tarantula is like, just by touching their mole. Their hair is so soft and so delicate because, like I said, their hairs are very delicate and they have the sense. So they're super fine and super soft, just like a teddy bear's hair. And they're it's extremely interesting to look at a molt here. Like as you can see, it's falling apart because it's just, I usually don't handle them too much like this, but they are super, super, super dry and delicate. Okay, guys. So what I have here is I put a little tissue down. That way my camera can pick up on this. This right here is the chelicerae, and right here is the fang. So the fang will start about right there, and right there where you see that little tip. It curves right there. That is the fang of cinnamon. And then this part, this big part right here, will be the chelicerae, which, like I said before, is the gum slash jaw of the tarantula. And this is exactly where, let me get it back in there. The fang is where they will inject the venom into their prey, and this is what they will also use to kind of pull, besides the pedipalps, what they will use to sink their teeth more into and to pull the food in closer to their mouth. Okay, guys, we're back, and basically that is it. Those are the main parts of a tarantula and what they're used for. Obviously, the legs are used for walking. The hairs are used for sensing, feeling, basically seeing, and also helping them stick to the walls. And what I couldn't show you in any of the things here, but I will show you right now, is let me move Julio back here a little bit. And let me grab some tissue right here. This is where I keep my molts in so that they stay safe. If you look at the very end of the arm here, which is called the tarsus, at the end of the tarsus, they will have little hooks, two little hooks in the end of their feet, and that's what they use to climb, hold on to things, and basically grab onto anything with their legs, their actual legs. And right here, guys, I just pulled out this book here. Right here is what I'm talking about. So this is the end of the tarantula's leg, and right here will be the little claws. They have little claws, and that is what really helps them to grab onto things, especially something like bark or stone or something rough. Not necessarily glass or acrylic, but something rough in texture that really helps them sink their claws into and helps them pull them up. And the thing is with having their claws in the end of their feet, is that when you have an enclosure, you always want to have something like this that has a solid top, so that in case a tarantula crawls on top of the enclosure, they don't get the little claws stuck in any mesh wiring or plastic wiring. Because what can happen is sometimes tarantulas will get their feet stuck in there, and either they'll get stuck in it to help them remove them, or they may fall and they may rip their arm off by doing that. So you definitely don't want that. So that's why it's always good to have something solid like this tarantula cribs enclosure here. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope this video was educational. I sure hope it was educational, because basically that's what this information is for. It's not really for you to apply to anything except for just having knowledge of the animals that you care for, which is very important. You know, you want to know the different parts of the animal. Not necessarily that we can treat these tarantulas, because they're just so small and delicate. You really can't, like if they break a leg, you can't really wrap it in a cast or anything. You basically had to hope for the best and let them heal on their own, and either the leg will fall off and they'll regrow it over a couple of molts, or they'll just be without a leg. Or you know, you gotta hope for the best with tarantulas. Basically, you gotta let them do their own thing, and that's just about it. So again, guys, thank you very much for watching. I apologize for the little smear here. Julio is definitely a messy one here. But thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any questions or any topics that you'd like to hear about with tarantulas, please leave a comment below. I love reading you guys' comments of any questions, or just hearing about you guys' tarantulas that you guys have, or something that you guys learned, or even comment something that I didn't talk about that you guys feel should have been talked about. And if you guys did enjoy the video, please do like and subscribe. And thank you again for watching Preston's 8 Legs. I like doing this channel. I know I don't really have a solid upload schedule, but I like uploading videos that I feel that you guys will enjoy, and they have some sort of purpose to them. They have something that you can learn from them. And then also, what's exciting about this video is that I am now using a real editing software. Two, I have a professional camera now, and I also am using a microphone right now. So you guys can let me know what you guys think of the audio, the video, and the video itself with the editing. Because I'm excited to, really get going with these YouTube videos and see just how well I can make them and how the production can go up. So thank you guys again for watching. I really appreciate all that you guys do for subscribing, liking, commenting, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good day. Bye.